What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary, dropping your Grapevine report for the week of October 14th. The Grapevine report is a segment that we bring to you to highlight an artist or an album, any piece of art really, just so long as it's related to music. And the hope is that Keith, MB, and I were able to open you guys up to the stuff that has influenced us, that has helped shape our perspective on the world of music. And we hope to highlight stuff that's kind of obscure. We hope that by clicking on these segments, you're able to discover something fun and new and share in the joy that we felt the first time that we were able to experience the subject at hand. And if you are familiar with the subject, well, we hope that you just love it as much as we do. I'm really excited to talk about this next band, though, in particular, their third record released in 1971. This San Francisco band separated themselves from their peers by delivering a sound that was just more raw than anything else that was out there and more rooted in blues than anything else that was out there. If you're not familiar with this record, Teenage Head from Flamin Groovies, you need to check this thing out. This is an amazing album from start to finish. 9 songs that Mick Jagger said incorporated pure raw blues into the rock and roll sound better than what they were doing on Sticky Fingers. That's quite a compliment. I'm a big fan of Sticky Fingers. That record, it might be one of the better Stones records in my opinion. And to drop a compliment like that on a band, it really truly says a lot about what these guys were doing early on in their career. But a little background, if you're not familiar with them: formed by Roy Looney and Tim Lynch. These guys were childhood friends, started playing music together back in the mid 50s. Bring in George Alexander, their bass player, as this project starts to evolve. It goes through a number of incarnations. I mean, I don't think there was ever really the focus on Flamin' Groovies when it started out. But as things progress, their original drummer brings in Cyril Jordan, and this is a decision that is going to cement the trajectory of the band, for better or for worse, depending on what you think of their sound. But these guys, they start garnering attention. They put out their first record, Super Snaz, in 1969 on Epic. Doesn't sell or garner the attention that the label wanted, so they drop them. And then they put out 2 more records on Kama Sutra, Flamingo in 1970, and then Teenage Head in 1971. And what I love about their sound, and if you listen to Teenage Head, you'll hear this, there's obviously the incorporation of that blues sound into rock and roll, but there's so much more that these guys are doing. You definitely get a great honky tonk vibe. And what I love about that is that their music, there's equal focus on the groove and just as much focus on the melodies. And I really like the way that all that stuff comes together. It makes for really catchy music that's easy to dance to. And this is a record that you can throw on at a party. I mean, just about any event. You could drop the needle on this thing and it'll get a good response for the energy that it brings to the table. I love the feel of garage rock that's driving this. And there's moments they do a Randy Newman cover on this record. It's the third track, Have You Seen Me Baby, or Have You Seen My Baby? And it almost has just punk rock energy. So the amount of rock and roll that these guys are covering, the terrain as far as these 9 songs, it's pretty hot too. I think this record has about a 31-minute runtime. It's pretty exceptional. It's unfortunate that Roy and Cyril never saw eye to eye. This band, if there was ever a band out there that highlighted you're either a Beatles person or a Stones person, it's this band right here. And after the release of Teenage Head, the band, after 3 records, failed to really make the mark that they wanted to. And so Tim Lynch and Roy Looney start to lose interest. Lynch leaves before Looney, but he eventually follows suit afterwards. And Cyril Jordan, that lone remaining member, he has carried this band into the future, into the now. But after Roy and Tim left, these guys, they took on more of that Brit pop sound of what was going on in the mid 60s, but also, as the 70s unfold and as we start to get more of that scene, definitely more of a pop drive versus the blues drive. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see if Cyril had maybe just acquiesced to Roy, if Cyril left a band maybe and Roy had stayed, what would have happened with these guys? But I know that over the years, they've garnered a lot more attention, and rightfully so. There's a lot more people talking about this band these days, and I think there were, when they were really at the height of what they were doing. And I would argue that is in the late 60s and early 70s with these 3 records. Teenage Head, you could maybe argue that is kind of like the zenith of these guys' career, but it's an amazing record. It's super fun, and for better or for worse, it's it's a group of guys that were able to come together and capture a sound and a spirit that maybe just, I don't want to say ahead of their time, because blues obviously has been around forever. The garage rock, there's so many things that had come before this band, but they were able to put them together in a way that was wholly unique, that sounded unlike anything else that was out there. And so I really hope that you have a chance to check out Teenage Head and check out all of the Flamin Groovies catalog. Check out those first 3 records. They're really exceptional. But this is a band that, you know, if you appreciate the blues and if you appreciate a band's ability to incorporate that sound into so many other different elements of rock and roll, and again, that focus on being able to match the quality of the groove with the quality of the melodies is something that I've always found really exceptional in their music. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. I hope you enjoy Flamin' Groovies as well, and Teenage Head, and everything else that comes from them. Thanks for tuning into the Grapevine Sessions, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you all next time on the Beat Sessions.